Happy Independence Day, everybody! How are you celebrating America's birthday this year? A cookout with family and friends? Shooting off fireworks? Watching the movie Independence Day? Watching the movie The Patriot? Or maybe you spent it like me, watching this mockery of patriotism called The Purge election year. For those who aren't aware, in this universe there's an annual holiday called The Purge, where for 12 hours all crime is legal. Kinda reminds me of that one Powerpuff Girls episode, Bought and Scold, but instead of robbing, looting, and other petty crimes, it's all about murder. I remember seeing trailers for the original Purge movie and thought it looked kind of interesting. I do enjoy stories where we can see what happens to the human psyche if moralities are removed or loosened, and to see what truly lies within a person's heart. A fascinating concept. However, the Purge series doesn't handle it as well as it could. The idea is there, and it isn't beyond salvaging, but they go about it all wrong. They portray it as, if all rules are removed, everybody kills each other. Again, they never address other crimes. Half the people I know would spend a 12-hour law-free period just getting high. I'd expect to see people out vandalizing and stealing, but no, it's mostly just murder. And it's indiscriminate murder. Some people go after others who they have grudges against, while others just kill whoever they come across. The justification for this is that if people use 12 hours to get out all of the aggression in their systems, then no crimes will be committed throughout the rest of the year. Realistically, this doesn't work, and it doesn't even work in-universe, but I'll get to that later. Now, the first two films had a small charm to them, being your typical run-of-the-mill horror action flicks, mostly harmless and fun to mock. The second one introduced the idea that the whole thing was government conspiracy to eliminate the homeless and poor to pad out the economy, less housing and welfare to provide. In the second one, we also get to see a band of rebels who are rising up against the wealthy, who hold purge auctions to where the highest payer gets to kill the victim in a game of killer laser tag, ripping off the short story The Most Dangerous Game. I'm kind of split on the whole government conspiracy bit. Part of me thinks that it does sound logical that the government would try something like this, but at the same time, I don't think these writers are that clever to come up with this until after they wrote the first one. The main victim of the first movie is a homeless man who is being chased by a group of rich kids, and the family shelters him, so that's where the plot of the first film is. I think they saw this one aspect and said, hey, let's add government conspiracy to the mix to make it more complex. Again, clever idea, but they didn't introduce it until the sequel, so it just feels like an afterthought. That said, the third film lost any of the charm the first two had. Let's see how. This is The Purge election year. Our movie opens up to the song Give Up the Funk. Ah, they're taking a note from the first film's trailer by playing unfitting music. Okay, fair enough. We see a creepy guy in a mask, as well as a bloody family sitting on the couch. He tells them that only one will survive. I wonder who it will be. We then cut ahead to, hold on, 18 years? The trailer said 15! You're going to learn really quickly that the trailer is all kinds of deceiving. But I'll get to that later. Moving on, one of the first things we see is a news report about riots and protests in Washington, D.C. Now, this could have been a clever idea, but it wasn't pulled off well. In the previous film, we're introduced to a character named Carmelo Johns, who organized an anti-purge resistance, but he's only mentioned once in this movie, and it's on a news report in the background, so it's hard to hear. Carmelo must have been killed in action and has been replaced by this new guy, Dante. No, not that Dante, but that will be freaking awesome.
Dante Bishop.
For the past 20 years, the NFFA has taken a legalized murder to decrease the poor population, which in turn...
Wait, stop! Just stop. Seriously? You're bringing that into this? That incident had nothing to do with the Purge. And before anyone says that it might just be using the same catchphrase to be a reference, it's still got the hashtag under it. It's got the guy's name. And this takes place in the year 2024. There's no reason to tie him to this incident. Okay, I'm trying to not talk about real-world politics as much as possible, but this movie's kind of forcing me to. This movie keeps trying to make tiebacks to the real-world politics, but does it in the worst ways. If it were a satire or a comedy, then it would be kind of funny and less offensive. But it's not. This is a horror action flick that wants to be taken seriously. That bit just made this film lose 90% of what little credibility it already had. We then move to one of our main characters, Charlie Roan, a senator who is running independently to become president. Her main goal is to bring an end to the Purge. If it'll stop these movies from coming out, you got my vote. So, her whole family was murdered almost 2 decades ago? She hasn't aged a day. She must be on whatever Patrick Stewart's got. We then see our antagonists, the new Founding Fathers, watching one of Roan's speeches.
They want the impossible. Everyone to have. Some cannot have. Not enough to go around.
Okay, I know you're painting them as the typical cliched political villain where all the motivation is money, but these villains are so stale that I'm gonna need some water here in a minute.
We do whatever it fucking takes! I have had it with all these idealistic pigs. It's time to do something about all these cocksuckers like that rat bishop and the cunt senator trying to dismantle everything we've built.
Yes, because somebody thinks differently than you, just kill them. the American way. Also, what's up with his voice?
Trying to dismantle everything we've built?
He sounds like the girlfriend from Family Guy.
This? You know, where everything has a question mark at the end of it, with an upward inflection?
As if it wasn't blatantly obvious enough, they want her dead, and they're going to use this year's Purge to do it. So Miss Rowan and the Minister are having a debate, and he's saying that he's going to be holding a Midnight Purge Mass.
Purge Mass. Is murder our new religion?
No, that joke's too easy. Moving on.
Any government system that relies on violence.
Again, too easy. These jokes are writing themselves. Oh hey look, it's Leo, the sergeant from the previous movie. Glad to see we have at least one carryover from the other films. Now moving on to our other set of main characters. We cut to some people in a deli watching the broadcast. The deli is run by Joe and his employee Marcos. Marcos is pretty gung-ho for the senator.
The senator's going to win. She's going to make real changes too.
Didn't they say the same thing about Bernie Sanders?
All that useless shit. You can't butter a damn bagel correctly.
I can butter your bagel, boss.
Oh, you butter my bagel.
Is that how Marcos gets his overtime? We're then told that it's one day before the Purge.
From this point on, no one is exempt.
The amnesty granted to level 10 government officials has been revoked, so everyone is on the chopping block this Purge evening, obviously making it illegal to kill off our beloved senator. Now this comes with some obvious loopholes and will obviously backfire later.
Hordes of young adults are arriving from Spain, Denmark, South Africa. They're being called murder tourists, as they are here for one reason: to purge.
We're here to experience the purge, to kill, release all the anger and hate. Be like Americans. We're very excited.
Wait, what? You're saying that people from all over the world are flocking to America to murder some random strangers? That's all kinds of bullcrap. America's the world's laughingstock. We get made fun of for being so violent, not praised for it. This is just reinforcing how the Purge doesn't make sense. And I know, the Purge actually means cleansing society by getting rid of the poor and homeless. But if the public were to actually buy into this whole Purge releases the anger thing, then why would you spend a fortune traveling to murder a bunch of people you don't know? When I get mad, I get angry at the person or the object that pissed me off, not some random schmuck down the street. Even a toddler could figure out that this is wrong. Meanwhile, back at the deli, we see two girls trying to shoplift. Joe sees them on the security cameras and tries to stop them.
You touch me, and I scream rape.
Perhaps you didn't hear me. On the security cameras! There's good line of vision. There's barely anyone in the store, and everyone can see that he's not trying to rape you, and that you're robbing his store, you moron! But Lainey intervenes, and apparently the two girls know her.
Lainey Rucker? Holy shit. OG Queen Badass?
And her reputation precedes her.
You're my motherfucking hero.
Now give back whatever you stole. And apologize.
What happened to you? You look all whitish now.
So, being an upstanding citizen and stopping crimes means that you're being whitish? Why don't you tell that to Jon Stewart or Simon Bass? Or how about this? If you think that being whitish means that you're an upstanding citizen, then you must think that... Okay, again, too easy. I'm sorry, I'm trying to not talk about real-world politics.
Later, Miss Rucker. Wish I met you back in the day.
Later, immature Brad, who's obviously going to come back on Purge night. Let's check on Roan, shall we? Security team doing a full checkup of the entire house, but since this is a horror film with political undertones, there's going to be a traitor somewhere.
It's just me and you, pal. Go downstairs, make sure they take care of that doors. Keep an eye on that guy.
Done.
But, what? We're back again? This movie jumps around more than Super Mario! Joe gets a phone call and is informed that his Purge insurance just skyrocketed. I'm not sure whether I find the concept of Purge insurance incredibly clever and funny, or just incredibly stupid. It makes sense that you want to have that, but at the same time, if it's only for one night a year, in which you can literally lose everything in these 12 hours, how can anyone afford it? The rates must have already been stupidly high.
Joe, just lock the place down, Joe.
Yeah, but that's not enough. If I have no insurance, I am screwed.
Good thing you haven't pissed off anybody enough to make them want to kill you on the one night where all crime is legal.
I just have to protect this place myself. This is my store!
The night of the Purge finally arrives, and Joe goes up to the roof and starts waiting for the would-be vandals as Lainey gets into a medic van. She goes around on the Purge night helping the injured, which is both noble and absolutely stupid. Good intentions, but you can't assume that you're safe just because you're doing a good deed, especially on a night where anybody can murder anybody. The sirens blare and the Purge commences. Leo is hanging out with Roan and tells us why he signed on with her campaign.
I almost did something on Purge night that would have destroyed a lot of lives. I want this night gone.
A throwback to the last film, where he almost killed a man who ran over his son while he was intoxicated. Wait. If the Purge actually eradicated all crime outside of that one day a year, then wouldn't that include public intoxication? Wouldn't everyone just stick to this law? In that film, he flat out said that his son was run over when he was walking home from school. Even if it was on the day of the Purge, his son was a grade schooler and the lockdown starts at 7 p.m. So the guy Leo didn't kill, committed a crime, and got off scot-free. Sorry, minor note, but they keep making it inconsistent. If everyone follows every law except on Purge night, then you should stick to your own freaking rules! Cutting back to Laney in the medic van, we hear rock music playing while others are out purging. We didn't get jump scared by a guy whispering, "Purge, purge," only to have him get shot in the head by a crossbow arrow? What the heck? That's too short to be a regular arrow, so that either had to have come from a crossbow or a blowgun. They keep driving and see... Oh, come on. Really? A guillotine in a random alleyway? I don't think that people would go that far for this. Now, this could have been clever if they had used it in the obvious church scene coming later, as shown by the trailers. But no, they used one of the creepiest aspects as a sideline joke. Some random schmoes in an alleyway with a friggin' guillotine. You lost me, movie. You freaking lost me. I can't take the rest of this seriously at all anymore. Think of all the times you've seen guillotines used in media. Like in Star Trek Voyager. It's always been a means of fear, building suspense, and given its historical significance, it's actually pretty terrifying. The idea of a crowd chanting while the victim is beheaded in a public setting is quite sombering. Again, if they saved this for the cathedral scene later, it would have worked better. But here, it's just a throwaway. The guillotine in Star Trek Voyager was pink, and it's still more intimidating than this. And no, even the scary ambience you're playing in the background isn't enough to make it intimidating. You lost me. The scene ends with Laney and her driver stopping to pick up an injured man who was shot by his own wife. Keep this in mind for later. So Marcos goes up to the roof with Joe, deciding to spend the Purge with him. They then see a car covered in Christmas lights heading down the street. As you can see, they've mastered the art of stealth, wearing tutus and carrying bedazzled weapons and blaring "Party in the USA." I knew Miley Cyrus was a bad influence. Although, to be fair, if somebody were to use a wrecking ball as a weapon in the Purge, that would be pretty cool. Then we see this one person wearing a mask that says, "Kiss me." Gee, I wonder who that could be. So far, we've only had one established character with the motive for coming here who has an Afro puff hairstyle. It couldn't possibly be... No! I never would have guessed! By the way, gold-plated AK-47? Save the golden guns for James Bond and Nicolas Cage.
I got a wicked sweet tooth tonight. And I want my candy bar. You don't got the balls to stop me.
Dang, Marcos is a good shot. He's not even using a scope.
I already took care of my mom and dad tonight. You're next.
Okay, why did you murder your parents? Did they try to stop you from dressing like that while you're out and about? Did they deny you a slice of chocolate cake when you asked for something sweet? And Joe and Marcos just let him drive away. They should have gone ahead and shot them down where they stood. From their standpoint, that's self-defense. The girls obviously want to kill them, and Joe be like,
I don't take kindly to vandalism.
And besides, there are no laws tonight, so I'd say morally and legally, you're covered. She just murdered her parents, and she said she's gonna murder you, so you have every right to shoot her and her goons, preventing any further mishaps from them. Meanwhile, back at Casa de Ron, we see the inevitable betrayal is underway. They loop the camera footage and call for their hitman to take out the guards. Really? White power? Confederate flags? Swastikas? Was that really necessary? We couldn't just have some guns for hire that are just random mercenaries? We had to make it super clear that they're bad people? We had to make them Nazis? Why don't you just show them kicking puppies or taking candy from children? Leo's about to head outside when he notices the looping footage and catches on.
I can't trust anyone. Put on that vest.
You think you would have learned that from the last Purge. Also, you're working with politicians. Of course you can't trust anybody. He goes to get the senator and leads her out through a secret compartment. The Nazi commander takes off his mask to reveal the most cliched, racist Nazi hitman you've ever seen. I'm surprised he didn't have a Hitler stash under that mask.
Outside. Repeat. Your mark may be outside. I see her!
But they spot her as they're running away. Leo gets shot in the shoulder and reveals he left a surprise for them in the senator's house. Laney brings the medic van back by the deli to check on Joe.
His wife shot him because she couldn't stand looking at his face anymore. She said purging didn't make her feel any better like they said it would.
You don't say! That's the biggest problem with this setup. Not the idea that the government would plan something as ludicrous as the Purge, but the idea that so many freaking people would just go along with it. Just because something is legally right doesn't make it morally right. As Shiro Emiya would say, just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right. Even if they do unleash all their aggression in one night, they're still going to feel bad for the rest of the year. If humanity is this devoid of morality, then I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Cutting back to Leo and Charlie, they're running for their lives and put together that it was the minister who's out to get them. And then a body removal truck drives by.
Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead!
A drone starts chasing them, but it doesn't appear to be part of the Merc's tech, and they destroy it after about 2 minutes, making its inclusion totally pointless. They said it was some homemade Purge drone, but who would go out of the way to make something this high-tech? Well, at least it's more clever than putting a guillotine in an alleyway. Our heroes round the corner and get jumped by people posing as dead bodies. They kill the jumpers, but get ambushed by, oh hey, look! Uncle Sam and the Statue of Liberty! You know, those people who are all over every poster for this movie? Like, in literally every advertisement you see, they are the biggest pictures. It turns out these Star-Spangled Stalkers are actually the foreigners who were here on the murder tour.
I love you, America. America is the greatest country in the world.
Reference my rant from earlier as to why this doesn't work.
This is the American way.
But they get gunned down by Joe and Marcos, who heard all the commotion and have come to save the senator. Okay, I have so many problems with this scene. First, numerous foreigners from different countries all hanging out together in one big group, running around on Purge nights. Even when I go to conventions and have a lot of different friends going, they're not all in the same place at the same time. It's rare if 2 or 3 ever cross paths. Second, even if crime is legal here, wouldn't there be some kind of international lawsuit regarding the death of a foreign citizen on American soil? I may be wrong, but isn't that a thing? And third, these guys were the advertising campaign. Everything shows them on it, and they only get 1.5 minutes of screen time. Timing it from when Uncle Sam shows up to the last one of them getting gunned down or running off, cutting out the small scene with Marcos and Joe talking, it only comes up to 1:28. Talk about misleading. This is a trick to make it seem like America had gone this crazy, but no. It was the foreigners dressed up like a patriotic circus who were the cover photos for this movie. I'm not even sure if they recognized her as the person trying to stop the Purge and didn't like it, or if they just happened across her and didn't know any better. But seeing as how the entire world had their noses in the 2016 election, then either is an acceptable answer. Joe and Marcos take Leo and Rome back into the deli to give them shelter, as they try to patch Leo's wound and start asking him questions.
What's your name, pal? You know what, Mr. Secret Service man, you should be thanking my black ass for helping you instead of interrogating me.
It wouldn't matter if you're black, white, brown, or purple. He's the bodyguard of a government official who's got a bullseye on her forehead. You know this, Joe. You know how pivotal she is and that this isn't about race.
Look.
So, Candy Girl is back and she brought friends.
Who the hell is that?
The looters I was telling you about. Purge night, Senator, what'd you expect?
Not this, considering there was little to no robbing and looting in the previous movies. I actually expected them to be hunted down by people dressed as beloved symbols of our country who were part of the grand scheme of things. So, the little brat who wants a candy bar plays a bigger role in this movie than everyone on all the posters. Maybe these guys could do the advertising for the next Star Wars movie. Put these random troopers and pilots on the posters. Don't even show Kylo Ren or Rey. We're here to see the random soldiers who have no lines whatsoever. And another thing, this chick has a gold-plated AK-47, yet she can't afford to pay for a candy bar? There's no point to this whole thing except to make herself look bad. So Joe says he can call a friend to come by and help.
You trust this friend? Hey, you still questioning my integrity.
Okay, I know that Joe doesn't know what happened to Leo in the last movie, given that he was betrayed by the people in the house that he thought was going to be safe, but enough with the race baiting already. Even if Leo didn't go through that, this is a night where all crime is legal. For all we know, you could have pissed Lainey off enough by not giving her a discount on soda, and she wants to murder you too. In real life, trusting friends would be easier, but not in this world. They decide to bunker down, and Roan decides she wants to take point.
Okay, enough. Executive decision. I'm with Leo.
You're not president yet. You can't give executive orders.
If I want some candy, I'll take some candy.
Yes. That's what this whole thing is about. They should have retitled this movie to The Purge, Candy and Justice for All. So, while their friend in the pig costume is almost done cutting through the big metal door with a power saw, Candy Girl and her best friend are playing Ring Around the Rosie before getting run over by the medic van.
Move, bitch! Get out the way!
And Lainey decides to fall back on the good old contingency plan.
Shotgun to the face is not a contingency plan.
I don't know, Griff. It worked pretty well here. They flee the deli in the van and head for a medical center located underground, leaving the other band of hoodlums to burn down and vandalize the store as they please. Yeah, if you had just killed them off earlier, this wouldn't have happened. But the Nazis are hot on their trail. They mention that the sniper hit Leo in the shoulder, and the commander gives an evil laugh. Hello, obvious foreshadowing. I missed you. The van passes by a tree full of hanging corpses. Did we suddenly start watching Berserk instead? Because that'd be more worth my time. The medic van has a wounded person with them, and he's handcuffed because he still wants to get out there and purge. They mention a rival gang, again hinting that the whole no crime except tonight thing doesn't work. But they seem to be safe for now. Let's hope nothing jinxes them.
Unwritten Purge rule is leave the triage units alone.
Well, maybe you should have written it down, because immediately a helicopter starts shooting the van. And of course, the random black guy gets killed off. Too bad he didn't have that plot armor. They decide to hide by running onto the freeway, where they see... okay? I'm not sure if this is really cool or kind of stupid. I mean, they are trying to kill each other, but at least they're doing it in a sort of honorable way, making it a contest of skill. Not very efficient, though. Leo deduces that the Nazis shouldn't have known that they were in the van, and he figures out that the bullet in his shoulder is a tracker. Okay, few questions. I'm no expert on guns, but are tracking device bullets a common thing? I mean, I heard they were testing them, like police use them to track getaway cars, but the sniper was shooting about 100 of those bullets, and he was shooting to kill. Was every round in that magazine a tracer, or did he just figure that he wasn't a good enough shot to kill them, so he better use his one tracer bullet for this one accurate shot? But at least the bullet is still transmitting.
What's your ETA?
2 minutes, Earl.
Insert "my name is Earl" joke here. Next. So, the gangs who are fighting each other surround the medic van, and Joe gives them a crip whistle. That gets the gangs to calm down, and they make a deal. The medics will help their injured friend if the gang helps them out. The Nazis take a squad on foot to follow the tracker, but it turns out that they've been duped, and the gang was waiting for them. Our heroes make it to the big underground hideout, where they're introduced to the Resistance's new leaders, Dante Bishop and his second-in-command, Angel. Again, they make no mention to Carmelo Johns. He wasn't a huge presence in the previous movie, but he was at least decently known. Joe decides he wants to get back to the deli, as Laney agrees to drive him and Marcos there. Leo and Rome figure out that Dante is planning to assassinate the minister and the new founding fathers at their midnight purge mass, infiltrating the cathedral using a series of underground tunnels. Tunnels under a church? Yeah, sorry, Nicolas Cage beat you to it. While the triage van is moving, they see big black trucks that were from the previous movie, and they're headed for the hospital center, prompting them to go back. Back at the complex, Rome doesn't take too kindly to the assassination plan.
He does this, and the minister becomes a martyr.
No? I don't think so. If anything, it would show a great sense of irony on how the Purge backfired on him, since he was one of the biggest supporters of it. And what about you? If you died, then you'd be a martyr for your ideals, and people rally together around your successor in honor of your memory. Not saying that you shouldn't try to survive, but this just isn't a good argument. Stupid.
I cannot have my presidency built on murder.
Okay, movie. From now on, every time you give me a joke that is too easy, you're going to put $1 in this jar. Keep them coming, I need to pay for college. After Laney gives them the message about the trucks, Leo and Roan hit the streets again. What? No! You cannot be this stupid! That's like something out of freaking Scooby-Doo! And where are they suspending that thing from anyway?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Even the senator knows it was a dumb idea. The people who set it up don't even follow them. They just want to see how many people they could get with their booby trap. I've seen more fitting traps constructed by spaghetti-making skeletons. Looks like someone wanted out of this movie faster than we did. Our heroes reassemble inside the triage van before he gets T-boned and flipped by the Nazis. Roan gets kidnapped, and our gang of unlikely protagonists decides to go rescue the senator. Earl and his men take Charlie to the cathedral, dressing her in a white gown and strapping her to a hand truck. The Nazis leave as the minister starts his sermon for the evening. And from this angle, he looks like a young Arnold Schwarzenegger. So is that what became of the scary baby from Junior?
And change we must, as it is our godly duty to get rid of the fury.
Okay, here's the problem with having political commentary on religion in most media. Typically, only extremists and stereotypes are shown. It doesn't matter what religion is being represented. It's almost always done in the same light. If you're going to have a corrupted religious figure displayed, then you have to have a counterbalance so it doesn't come across as ignorant and insanely biased. Look at the Hunchback of Notre Dame from Disney. They had Minister Frollo, who abused his power, saying it was all God's work. But we also had the Archdeacon, who actually follows what the Bible preaches and is a good person. Even Outlast 2 got this part right. The main antagonists are a crazy baby-murdering cult who claim to follow the same God, while the main characters used to attend a Catholic school, showing a huge contrast. Back at the ranch, our other team meets up with Dante and his squad, and they inform them of what's just happened as they breach the cathedral.
Jesus died for their sins, and now our modern-day martyrs will die for our trespasses.
Okay, movie, you're putting $10 in the jar for that one. They bring out the first victim, a drug addict, and they let the priest's aide, Harmon, go first.
No! The violence from your darkened hearts! Let the light in! His light entered your heart. Yes!
Jesus H. Goddamn Christ! I have seen the light!
They then bring out Roan and are about to do the same.
We must stop her from poisoning our great country.
I already made this joke. Next. And look here! His mouth isn't even moving. Watch!
By taking away our freedoms.
The civilian team gets up to the balcony as the new founding fathers make it up to the altar.
A nation reborn.
Boy, I've heard of cutthroat politics, but this is ridiculous. And then Marcos gets off a wicked headshot, again without a scope. While I have severe doubts of the plausibility of that, I'm just gonna let it slide. The other fathers and their security draw guns and there's a firefight, and Lainey is so awesome that she doesn't even bother to hide in cover. Harmon flees, taking a shotgun and a pistol, and nobody bothered to shoot Roan in the crossfire! The whole purpose of this gathering was to kill her off. It doesn't matter how it's done, as long as she dies. Dante and his squad handled the rest of the Founding Fathers' goons, and they captured the Minister after rescuing Charlie. Dante is about to kill the Minister, but Roan begs him not to, leading to a square-off.
I like black people, but I ain't gonna let y'all shoot these white folks. These are our white people, okay?
Movie, would you like me to deal you a new hand? Because it seems that the only card you have left is the race card. Dante figures out that Rome was apparently right about the Minister becoming a martyr and decides not to kill him. But wait a minute, you just killed off nearly all of the other new Founding Fathers. Or at the very least the highest ranking ones. Will the public favor swing in their support because the head of this organization took a bullet to the skull? They then find that there are other hostages being held in the cathedral. Now see, if you had to have a guillotine in this movie and it actually be somewhat threatening, then this is where you should have done it. You should have had it in the cathedral, beheaded a few hostages on it, adding suspense to the situation, and actually give us a scary atmosphere. As Dante starts looking for an escape vehicle, Earl and his Nazis show up, and another firefight ensues. Dante squishes two of them in his car before getting killed off himself. Leo and Earl then run out of ammo and go knife to knife. Okay, look at that expression. You can tell he's just done with this film. Using his knuckle knife, Leo gets out of the hold and punches Earl in the face. Now, I'm sure Heath Ledger appreciates your efforts, but I should remind you that the Joker actually hates Nazis. Leo finishes the fight with a stab in the back and a roundhouse kick to the face. Chuck Norris would be proud.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, nice finisher. Even Earl scoffed at that line. We're already an hour and 40 minutes into this hour and 45-minute movie. Something's missing. Oh, that's right! A main character death! Joe gets shot in a rather sloppy exchange of bullets with Harmon, and he's bleeding out.
Breathe, Joe. Breathe.
Don't die, Joe! Marcos won't have anyone's bagel to butter if you die! So we fast forward to Election Day, which is now in May instead of November, and Roan wins in a landslide. We see Marcos rebuilding the deli, which surprisingly looks kind of intact. It looks more like they just haven't moved in yet. If it was burned down like Candy Bar Girl said they were going to do, then it wouldn't look this pristine. The last thing we hear on the news is that the supporters of the new Founding Fathers have started riots all over the country. Looting and killing are happening right after Rome wins the election. And that's where it ends. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this was a piece of work. As I said earlier, the first two were bad, but had a bit of the bad movie guilty pleasure feel to it. No substance, but still entertaining, and worth maybe one watch. This one, however, hit all the wrong notes. They tried to play off the idea of the government conspiracy, but went about it the wrong way. The new Founding Fathers keep saying that the Purge is how they cleanse their souls of aggression. Even if they don't buy into it themselves, that's what they keep saying. They keep saying that the Purge eliminates 99% of crimes and bolsters the economy, which I say is complete bullcrap. People still feel aggression before and after the Purge. Crimes are committed, like drunk driving and vehicular manslaughter. As for the religious aspect, most mainstream religions do not condone this kind of behavior. Even if the legal law takes a break, the spiritual laws do not. Most deities would not be okay with just murdering some people. Even looking at it from a non-religious mindset, we as humans are not so devoid of morality that we'd all just instantly kill people just because we can. Remember the wife who felt bad after shooting her husband? She'll be regretting that tomorrow. And economic prosperity? I don't think so. With so many people dying from the Purge and so much property destroyed, I'd say that people are spending most of their money to rebuild from the Purge and the economy would actually be suffering. Keep in mind that this has been going on for 20 plus years, so the idea that the economy and society's moral fiber are in this shape is absolutely absurd. If anything, it would be a more post-apocalyptic setting, with ruins of buildings and collapsing society. All crime is legal. What's to stop people from blowing up a school or a hospital or a gas station? And And this is happening all over the country, so that's going to be thousands of people out of jobs, and the economy is going to be in the toilet. In every aspect of this movie, they resort to the lowest common denominator. For the bad guys, we have greedy rich people, religious fanatics, and Nazis. For the good guys, we have a Mary Sue, a good-looking white guy with a gun, and some token minority characters who have way too many race-baiting lines of dialogue. There are several more in this film that I didn't even touch on. To be fair, most of the main cast is likable whenever Joe is employing the race card, but the marketing for this movie was completely false. The attention was focused in all the wrong places, and there was too much salience to take the situation seriously. The previous one had flamethrowers and that Jeep in the tunnel scene, which was a stretch, but the guillotine and pendulum blades in alleyways were too over the top. And I still can't get over the fact that Candy Bar Girl was a bigger villain than Uncle Sam and the Statue of Liberty. On top of all that, the only main character to get killed off was one of the token black guys. Typical for a crappy horror action flick. The politics are bogus, and nearly every group is portrayed poorly here. This movie makes black people look bad, it makes teenagers look bad, it makes religious people look bad, it makes politicians look worse, and it makes foreigners look bad for traveling across the world to partake in this, and overall, it's just a big mess. I've heard that around this time next year, they're actually coming out with a prequel movie to this series, and truth be told, I am kind of interested in going to see it. I think they could do better with the prequel before they ham it up like they did in this one. If it takes place earlier, when the Purge first starts, then we can see how it got to where it is now, so it might be a little bit entertaining. This has been Blake Cross EXE, part of Flash and Blaze Productions. I hope you all had a nice Independence Day, and now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to take this money from the bad joke jar, and I'm going to go buy some more fireworks. Have a good evening, everybody.